Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special Star Wars CCG live broadcast. I am Dan Terteglia, also known as D-Tag1. Joining me, Mr. Darth Batmouse himself, Anthony, I am the Sheriff. Hear me roar, Howard, and coming to you live tonight. It's Casey, Spidey Guy Zero. I don't have anything snarky to say about you. I'm not going to pronounce your last name because I always mess it up. So how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well. Thanks for having us on.
Okay, so
I'm doing great.
well, you're always doing great. You live in California now. So tonight we have a special broadcast. Again, this is going to be the release of the 2025 GEMPC. Again, this is the Batmouse inspired GEMPC. You know, it's all nice and good. Everybody loves
Thanks
this
for
event.
doing this, guys.
Well, that was weird. But we have an exciting show. We're going to go line by line on the bracket, determine everything, who's placed where, some of the other stuff in terms of seating and stuff. A panel of 7 individuals skillfully maneuvered a field of 64 players and determined who should be where in the bracket. It looks like Joe Olson created this bracket on the challenge site. So I don't know when the tournament actually starts. Batmouse, when does it start?
So deck lists I'm pulling up the info, but deck lists I believe are due on Friday, and we'll be starting shortly after that.
Okay, and so go over some of the. So there's been some changes from this NPC to the last one. Would you care to go into a little bit about some of the changes?
Sure. So in the past, the Batmouse's GEMPC has been a way to experience match play for those that can't travel, don't travel, and really to give everybody that opportunity and that experience to play in this style of event. But we held it on GEMP and we built from there. And as time has gone on and this event has evolved, we've gone from the sheriff literally being in the Wild West running this to the tournament committee, and the PC has come in and led prize support and now player of the year points the last 2 years, and has really made it another major for us online. And this year we implemented a modest $5 entry fee to really get those that wanted to play in this event, that opportunity. And as such, there was a bump in the number of, there was a bump in how many player of the year points you could earn. This is now essentially on the level of a regional, I believe. So that's where we're at. And with that, we saw a drop in the participation, but a real spike in the quality of those that did sign up and are interested in playing.
Okay. So again, why don't we get right into the bracket then? Again, our panel of 9 position skilled players 7 players determined the bracket. If you have any problems, don't go to the PC. Go specifically to Batmouse. He'll file your grievances accordingly. I know normally we file all of our grievances to Jared, but Jared has now been has been pushed to retirement, essentially. I guess, I don't know, and Batmouse is now your go-to. If you have a problem, go to Batmouse.
Yeah, absolutely. Come. I will make sure to file your grievances in this blue can that I have behind me.
Okay, so first up, our number 1 seed is our reigning champion, Mr. Matt Harrison Trainer. He'll be facing off against Eric Hawbaker. Anything to say? Let's start with Casey. Casey, I'm going to go with yours, our de facto. You know what you're doing person. I mean, you are a you are a runner-up when it comes to Worlds. You always seem to make like a top 8. So I want a lot of input from you, sir.
Sure. So the first thing I'll say is when I was on that committee of 7 people who were putting together the bracket. And when we were putting together the bracket, we put it together in the sort of NCAA tournament style of 4 regions, 4 number 1 seeds, 4 number 2 seeds, 4 number 3 seeds. We then got to the challenge website and realized that they didn't support that feature. So it's ranked 1 through 64. But when we were seeding, we seeded with the mindset of top 4 players. Those are number 1 seeds. The players 5 through 8, those are number 2 seeds. 9 through 12, those are number 3 seeds, etc. So, don't be too nitpicky about, oh, I'm above this player, I'm below this player by 1. You're on the same seed line as a player. You were considered to be more or less the same skill level as that player.
Okay.
So now I guess talking about Matt Harrison Trainer is the number 1 overall seed. There were only 2 players who got votes as the number 1 overall seed. It was Matt and the player who was placed 2nd overall. And they were very, very close in terms of vote splitting. Matt is the defending champion of this event. And that was, I guess, sort of the tiebreaker. And he is the number 1 overall seed.
Okay, and Matt, he'll be facing off against Eric Hallbaker. Eric from Pennsylvania. He plays a lot in the Karelia League. I know that. On top of that, he's an Orioles fan, so I don't know if he's got that going for him or not.
Long-time NPC participant, also going back to, I think he was at the very first NPC back in 2007, 2008, whenever that was, in the Philadelphia area.
Okay, so moving on down the line, our 8-9 seeds in this bracket are Daniel Amore and
Moss.
Sorry?
Andrew Moss.
Andrew Moss, yes. I thought it was Andrew Moss. I didn't want to, blurt out Andrew Moss and sound like a dum-dum. But here we go. Daniel Moore, he came in second a couple of years ago at the SoCal San Diego event to Drew Lichtenstein, so he had a nice run there. Andrew Moss, I know he's just generally a nice guy. He likes to play a lot of thematic decks. So why were these essentially an 8 and a 9 seed in this bracket?
So when it came to making the brackets, the biggest issue that we ran into was teammates. And we did everything we possibly could not to have teammates face off against each other in either of the first 2 rounds. And we developed a bracket where no teammate is going to play each other until the Sweet 16 at the earliest. But when you get these large teams, New Allies, I think, brought 11 players into the tournament. Killer Bees brought 12. It becomes difficult to create these matchups in a way, and the teams sort of start to dictate themselves in terms of who can play who in the early rounds. So when we're looking at the first matchup that we had MHT and Eric, MHT is a member of New Allies, so nobody from New Allies could go in this 8-9 game. As a result, we have Eisenberg from Killer Bees in that slot instead.
Okay, that's completely understandable. Sorry, I'm trying to just work on the stream a little bit, but moving on down the line, I believe this is a 4 seed, Chris Kelly versus Peter Jacobson. So let's talk a little bit about these guys. Sorry, again, I'm trying to make it all look nice and everything. But Chris Kelly, he is a MPC winner. He's won nationals. Peter is over in Europe right now. Again, really nice guy. He is from Minnesota. So, again, our 4 seed in, I believe, our
13.
Casey, you're an NCAA guy. You should know what seed he is in.
This is the 4-13 matchup in MHT's bracket. Chris is the 4, former 2-time major champion, most active player on the Jedi Test 8 team. Just missed the cut in New Jersey a couple weeks ago. And Jeeps is a guy, again, he's a long-time Minnesota player. He's been in Europe the last few years, one of the most fun guys in all of Star Wars CCG to hang out.
Okay. Moving on down the road, our 5 and 12 seed, Connor Britton versus Andy Talaga. It's been a while. It's been a long day, Robbie, so shush. But yeah, Connor out of Southern California, neighborhood of Anthony Batmouse Howard. And Andy out of New Jersey, he's been doing a lot. He is more of a retro player. So interesting to see that he signed up, but I am glad to see it. And that's completely fair for Andy. Andy, like as we said, just a good guy. Does play a lot of retro, but he is a good player. So glad to see him involved. Can't hear Casey anymore. Let me see why. It could be on me. Okay. Can we talk? Casey, go ahead for a second. No, Greg can't hear you. No audio means. No, 1 second. That's on me, I believe. I hear you loud and clear. We're working on it, Carl. Okay, you there? Yeah, go ahead, talk. I'm not sure what happened. 1 second. Let me get my Discord back up. Okay. But yes, we are talking about the Connor and Andy matchup, everybody. I know that you guys can't hear. Yeah. Working on it. Sorry. Apparently my... You know what? Here. This is how I always go analog. No, they're not going to hear you now. I got to change something on this end. They hear me. Just because I'm special. I mean, it wouldn't be a Star Wars CCG stream if we didn't have any technical issues.
That is true.
But trying to work on Discord versus the other one, Zoom, has been fun. Okay. Sorry about that. So now everybody should be able to hear everybody. So Casey, let's talk a bit about our Connor
What's in
versus.
front of my face?
We are talking about Connor versus Andy again. So, what were you saying there, Mr. Casey?
Oh, just that. So Andy has more experience than most of the primarily retro players, and that's why he was seeded higher than the rest of that group. Connor is an excellent player. I believe I actually had him higher than this in my personal rankings. Yes. So.
I do
Connor,
think
if
that
you're
Connor should be a little
don't blame me.
higher, just because he is a good player, but at the same time, he hasn't been playing a lot, especially in
Sure.
person.
I played him in SWU the other day online. We were randomly matched up against each other.
That's pretty cool.
I will say this: like SWU and Star Wars are two completely different things. I'm actually halfway decent at SWU. But moving on down the line, we have our the 8th overall seed, who I believe is our 2 seed, Brian Fred versus Schmicky, who is.
I think that is Michael
Michael Morris.
Yes, yeah. Just looking it up. But Brian Fred as a 2 seed, do we feel that that's warranted? Because he just win an event little bit ago, or at least last year.
You're asking, shouldn't he be higher?
I'm just saying.
There's a lot of great players in this event, and Brian Fred, he's a major champion. He's one of the best players in the world. He also can be a bit inconsistent, and he doesn't love playing online, which I think may have gone against him.
Okay, Casey, just to let you know, you cut out there just at the very end.
Just saying that Brian does not love online play.
That's fair. And then Michael Morrison, tell us a little bit of something about him, like for those who aren't familiar with him.
So there are 2 Morrisons in the NPC Guild, and we don't know if they're related, but I'm curious about that.
Okay. Moving. So again, Brian, our 2 seed, Michael, our 15 seed. Moving on, we have.
I also do want to say that just real quick about the 2 seeds. All of the 2 seeds in this event are from New Allies.
That's not fair.
That was.
But then again, there's like 2,864,000 of them.
There's at least 40 new allies, and I mean they happen to win events, so it's kind of a thing.
That's fair. I mean, the last event was won by a new ally. But moving on down the line, we have one of our surprise seeds from last year, Logan Petig versus David Woods, I believe. Logan did make the top 4 last year, and we have him as a 7 seed with David as our 10 seed. So, why Logan at a 7 seed?
Logan's a great player. Went on a fantastic run last year and knocked me out of the tournament. I didn't come back this year, so he more or less ended my NPC career. To watch the jump in the level of play that he's had in the past year has just been tremendous. That's why he's up to a 7 seed now after being one of the lower seeded players last year. David is a Virginia guy, one of the Norfolk guys, and he is a very, very solid player who tends to lock into decks and play those decks really well. So I'm excited to see this matchup. I think this is going to be a really good matchup.
Batmouse, being that Logan is one of your teammates, any insights onto this matchup?
I wholeheartedly agree. It's going to be a good matchup. I love both of these guys. To Casey's point, Logan locking in and really elevating his play. We have a lot of guys on the Killer Bees. We have 2 young ones, in AJ and Logan, and they just have elevated and continue to grow. And it's been really great to watch that happen. And he absolutely deserves to be a 7 seed here.
Okay. So, again, moving on down the line, we have our 3 seed, Mr. Timo Dusel. He'll be playing off against.
Jonathan Ciferno, I believe.
Sorry, the name is drawing a blank, but I think you're right. But again, so it's Timo as our 3 seed. Thoughts? Like, Timo's a 3 seed. Does that seem like right around where he should be?
Yeah. To me, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Timo.
Yeah.
He's a very good player.
Yeah.
Like, he's the consummate professional, you know?
And then moving on down the line, we have AJ, who's seated higher against Logan. Interesting. He's 1 point higher than Logan. He'll face off against Eric Spixma. Why AJ at 24 and higher than Logan?
AJ just made his first top 8 in New Jersey a couple weeks ago. He's been on a tremendous tear lately. And part of it might be recency bias. Part of it might be that Logan doesn't travel as much as AJ does. Well, folks, they're in the same bracket. They'll just probably have to settle it on the server.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair. Okay. And then Eric as at number 41. Thoughts on that? That is our 6 and what is that? A 6 and
6'11".
yeah, 6 and 11. Okay.
So Eric is a European player. He is also a member of New Allies, one of my absolute favorite Europeans. Love hanging out with Eric. He is a very solid player. I think he can challenge AJ in this matchup. I think this is going to be a really fun one.
Okay, so that is our first bracket, essentially. Moving on down a little bit further. So next we have Jeff Levine as our 4 seed overall. So he is a 1 seed versus Benny Jet. Benny Jet is... anybody have
We don't know too much about Benny Jet, and I'll apologize to Jeff. What we know about Benny is that he is a retro player. He does not have any experience in Open that we know of. He was one of the people that we were really struggling to see because we just didn't have a ton of information available. He gets a slight bump because he has a fantastic username. It's either a reference to Sandlot or Elton John, and either way, I love it.
Yeah,
That's fair. But he
points
does.
for both.
I will say, I feel like he does have sort of a challenge going ahead playing against Jeff. Jeff is a perennial top 8 player. Every time he enters an event, it seems like he's almost in the top 8. So, very tough road ahead, but we'll see. Definitely take an eye on that match. On to our 8 and 9.
This is the only. Jeff certainly deserves to be a 1 seed. This was the only 1 seed where there was some question about who was going to be the final 1 seed. The first 3 were pretty set, and then there were a couple of people battling it out for the 4th 1 seed, and Jeff was the one who took it down. But when we cover some of the 2 seeds, I will say that some of those people easily could have been the final 1 seed.
Okay. And then moving on down the line, we have Jeff Horby, who just showed up at Minnesota, versus Matt Lutz, who was also at Minnesota. Jeff as Joe. I got Jeff on the I got Joe Jeff on the brain, Joe on the brain. But yeah, I got Joe as the 8 seed, Matt as a 9 seed. Why 8 and 9 for Joe and Matt?
Oh, Joe is a player who has really, I guess, arrived on the scene in the past, really just the past 6 months or so. He's now traveling to major events in person for the first time. He's playing really good Star Wars. I've been a it was great meeting him a couple weeks ago, and I've just been very impressed by the way he's been playing. Um, Sort of reminds me a lot of when Jeff Levine first popped on the scene a few years ago before he won a major. Guy
Mm-hmm.
who is decided he wants to be better, has shown that he has the potential to be one of the greats in the game, and is putting in the work. So I'm excited to see where he goes next. As for Matt, Matt is a new Allies member, really good player. There were only, like I said before, we had to make the bracket in a way where we prioritized that no teammates were going to play in the first or second round. And we did our absolute best to do that without moving anybody off of their seed line. There were two instances in the bracket where we had to move one player up and move one player down. And so two players moved up a seed line, two players moved down a seed line.
Okay.
Matt was one of the lucky beneficiaries who was originally a 10 seed, but got moved up to a 9 seed in order to make the matchups work. So congratulations to Matt. Easily could have been a 9 seed, but did get moved up.
Okay. Moving on down the line, we have our
It's a 413.
okay 413. Yes. So we have our 413, and it is, I believe that's Matt Sokol versus E Spangler. E Spangler sounds familiar.
Yim.
Sorry?
Gibson Yim.
Gibson Yim. Yes,
Gibson.
Gibson. So Matt Sokol, former world champion. Thoughts on this matchup?
I expect Matt to take it down. He is a world champ. He tends to undersell his performance a bit. We asked everybody when we were taking signups for this event to, I guess, rate your how much you play and how much success you had in the past playing Star Wars CCG. And I think Matt, more or less everybody rated themselves pretty much spot on. Matt rated himself incredibly low, and we had to compensate for that. Matt, you're a tremendous player. Fully expect to see you in the Sweet 16, if not farther, in this event, coming off a top 8 in New Jersey.
Okay. Moving on down, we got Matt Scott versus Brandon Beatty. So what do we got here?
So Matt is a player who, again, he's an excellent player. Might very well be underseeded. I know a lot of people on the selection committee wanted him to finish higher than he was. What we did when we were compiling the bracket, just to go a little bit behind the scenes, all 7 of us on the committee made a list 1 through 64 of how we would seed the players. We then averaged those lists and looked for the players with the highest standard deviation in their ranking. So these were the players that we disagreed on the most, and then we had deeper discussions about each of those players. And Matt was one of those players that had a very wide range of opinions on where to put him in this field. So I know that a lot of people really thought that Matt should have been seeded higher than this, and I would not expect. I would not be surprised if he proves those people right.
That's fair. And then Brandon, pretty decent player. Doesn't really often play a lot, but when he does play, he's fairly decent. And then moving on down the line, we have our next number 2 seed, Sam Tashima versus Jack Bear. Jack Bear is, sorry, I have the list right here. Jack Douglas. So Sam, again, on a really good tear recently, top 8ing a lot. Jack, kind of newish. So, thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah. look, I don't think it's nuts that I expect Sam to take this pretty easily. Sam was one of those guys certainly in the mix for the last number one seed.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in last year. Excellent online player. Near the top of the OCS every month. As far as Jack goes, he's a guy who he's been around GEMP for a while now. He's been in the OCS. The results haven't quite been there for him, but I'm excited that he's going to get this experience in this event.
Okay. And then we have Bib Fortuna, again, one of our recent top 4 participants from last year. He'll be facing off the great legend himself, Scott Lingrell. Again, Bib Fortuna, he is Mr. Nathan Russell, another killer bee. So thoughts on this, and especially Anthony. Anthony, talk about your teammate.
So Bib he really came out of nowhere for a lot of people last year during the GEMPC, and he just we've given him the nickname in team. He's the train because he just kept it going. He just kept chugging along last year. We knocked you out, Casey. He took down Gogolin. He got past Garrett Larson, and he just kept
I lost
chugging
to
along.
Logan.
Oh, you lost Logan. My bad.
Again, I lost to the other breakout contender.
Yeah, to the other.
I noticed that both of them are 7 seeds this year. The two big surprises of last year's event. Yeah,
and they're both killer bees. So I got lucky to see again the same thing that I've been talking about is they showed up, they put in the work, and they really grounded out. Taking their own approaches to get there. So,
okay,
big fan.
And thoughts on Scott? Like how would you say if you're in Nathan's shoes right now? How do you prepare for Scott?
Grabbers, all the grabbers.
All the grabbers. Find something that you're good at and try to find the weirdest thing that would beat it. That's probably what you're going to face.
Okay.
I should also say that Scott was the person that we sacrificed so that Lutz could move up a seed line. Scott was originally a 9 seed and had to come down to a 10 seed here. So apologies to Scott for that. Scott was also one of the people with a very, very large standard deviation, a really, really tough player to rank.
That's fair. Okay, moving on down the line, we have Chris Werfs versus Mr. Dirty Randy. Randy Scott, thought on this matchup?
I love both of these guys to death. My favorite people in the game. Both really solid players. Randy's new, coming back, works his experience. I think the experience is going to take it down, but absolutely love both these guys.
I will echo the absolutely love both of these guys. And experience is there, and Randy is a killer bee, and he's been test driving some of my crazier decks and having some good success with them. So now we just have to convince them to play good cards and not Batmouth cards, and it should get better from there.
That's fair. Okay, so again, this is a 4 versus a 13 seed. Up next, we have Dennis Reinhardt versus Rebel CPA, who is Bill Bachelor. Again,
yes. This is a 6-11. Dennis and Bill. Werfs and Randy is a 3-4.
Yeah, and
so
Dennis is going to be a tough out. Like, Dennis is a really good player. He's made a lot of top 8s before. When he does go to events, he usually is always in the running for a top 8. I think Bill is a good player as well. He's definitely one of those players you got to watch out for. So this is one of those games, like, it could be an upset, but I will not be surprised if Dennis just does really well in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, 6-11 is one of those spots where people tend to pick upsets in their bracket. I don't necessarily see it happening here. Dennis is a really strong player. Easily could have been seeded higher.
Mm-hmm.
I think his last top 8 was a little over a year ago in Atlanta, if I'm remembering correctly.
I want to say he was like 10 or 11 at Worlds last year.
Yeah, he was high at Worlds also.
But yeah, he was. He made the top 8 at Vegas. Thank you, Carl.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. He did just make a top 8 at Vegas.
See,
so
he shows
Dennis,
up. He makes top 8s. That's what Dennis does.
He does. I would have liked to see him a little bit higher, but it's what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, when you have a bracket like this, it is extremely hard.
There's a lot of talent in this bracket, and I will say that my top 20 was a lot harder than the middle, and yeah, the top 20 was just it's chock full of good players.
And moving on down the line, we have our next number 1 seed, our number 2 seed overall, Joe Olson, 3-time world champ, has won almost every other tournament he's ever entered. Probably like one of the top 4 players all time. I mean, what else can we say about them? He's facing off against Zach Brem or Zach Beam. Again, I'm terrible with names. We all know that. But
yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts about this? Like, I mean, is it fair to Zach?
Screw it. I'm taking Zach. Let's go.
Upset of the year, a 16 taking out a 1. Yeah, it's hard to pick against Joe. It really is, especially at the level. Zach is someone that I've seen him online, but I don't have a ton of knowledge on him.
Okay. Moving on down the lines, we have Wayne Cullen versus Justin Miyashiro in our 8-9 seed. Why Wayne at an 8 and Justin at a 9?
Wayne was another guy, high standard deviation. There was a lot of discussion about Wayne. It was, interestingly, pretty East Coast, West Coast split. I think Wayne has a lot of fans in his home region, whereas maybe some of the West Coast guys aren't quite as familiar with his game. But you better watch out for Wayne. He's a good player. He has improved tremendously over the past year.
Mm-hmm.
OCS, top 16. Really, really strong player.
Yeah.
And Justin is a guy who, again, also a very good player. Wish we could see him at more events. In person, Denver guy, another one of my favorite people.
Yeah, and I feel like Justin would definitely improve if he was at more events. But it is hard because life does happen. Wayne, I believe he was at Morristown, so he is showing up. This is definitely going to be a really good matchup, and I think it's going to just come down to who has a lot more intel. And the nice thing is, like, Wayne is on Moneyball. He's got a good teammate. He's got a good lineup of teammates. Justin, he's got to pick up his teammates. Nah, we don't know about those guys.
I can vouch for 2 of them who are ranked higher. So far, there's another one we haven't seen where he's at yet.
I'm assuming he's ranked pretty high, but at the same time, he's definitely overranked. Moving on down the line, we have Brad Kipple versus John Werner. Brad is he plays every event. He usually does it well in like every format. John is. He does play a lot online. Don't see him a lot at events. So again, Brad is almost strictly a online event player. So thoughts on this matchup?
Brad beat me today in the CS game. Brad's a really, really strong player. Among the strongest of the online only players. I'm looking at the seed list now because I have.
I think it's a 3 versus a 14.
Yeah, so I think Brad is the highest seeded player who does not attend real life events.
Yeah, and that's
So,
actually
and unless you count SEMO, because I don't know if European events count as real life, but you know.
hey, whoa, time out. I will say, without a shadow of a doubt, all European events are real, and they probably rank higher than the USA events. Just saying.
Should every event was a European event.
Same.
Yeah, Dan's top 8.
He plays his best over there.
Oh, and moving on down the line, we're going to have John Veazey versus some guy who is definitely should be ranked a little bit lower than 18. Mr. Sheriff himself. Anthony, you are, I believe, a 4 seed, which means that John is a 13 seed. Why Anthony is a 4 seed?
Sorry. Brad and John is the 413.
Oh, okay.
Batmouse and Veazey is the 512.
Oh, okay, even better. Why is Batmouse a 5 seed? I think Batmouse should be at least a 6 or a 7. Batmouse hasn't been played lately.
Batman. He hasn't what?
I don't see Batmouse playing anytime. But
he's a good player. He's a 5 seed player.
He's a 5 seed?
I hear the Batmouse guy took like a year off from traveling to events. Did something along those lines. I think he had a pretty good year the year before that though.
Yeah, but that was 2 years ago. What
have
you done for me lately?
I qualified for the OCS in April or February. I don't know, one of those months.
Okay.
March.
I'm gonna own up to this, and I'm okay doing it because Batmouse was on the selection committee. He already has seen all of the lists, and I apologize. I probably tanked Batmouse's seeding. I was his lowest seeder, and he might have been a 4 seed if I wasn't involved. So
I think you're the only one that had me outside of the top 20.
Yeah, I had.
But you had me at 21.
Wow.
Yeah, 21.
Casey, explain the hate for Batmouse.
Personal.
It hurt, but it's okay. I mean, I gave the angry face, but again, this is a tournament that there are a ton of good players, and there are just some people that are you feel have a better clutch of the meta at the time, and you're gonna choose them. There's nothing personal. Please, if you feel bad about your ranking, again, I have a trash can. I mean, I have a filing receptacle over here for your complaints and grievances.
So
send them my way.
Moving on down the line, we have our 2 seed Chris Gogolin versus Mr. Idea Track Lyndon Patter. Chris is a 2 seed. Interesting. Is this recency bias?
No, Chris is an excellent player. He's top 8 in Worlds. He has strong showing pretty much every time he shows up to an event. I can't think of the last time that Chris scrubbed out of an in-person major.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Consistent player.
I mean, I know that he won this event a couple of years ago, and so that again definitely carries some weight because this is not an easy event to win. So, Chris facing off against Lyndon. Lyndon's a good guy. I think Lyndon, again, this is a possible one. I feel like Chris on his game is, again, one of a top 12 players in the world. But at the same time, I mean, Chris does have those cracks in his game.
I will say every single voter was pretty consistent on Chris. Every single person had him between 7 and 9 in their rankings.
Okay.
So the very definition of right there is a 2 seed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Moving on down the line, we have Pat Johnson versus Blake Silkwood. Pat, who still one of those players who is really yet to break that barrier of a top 8 in-person event. I know that he's done well, pretty well. I know he's made the OCS, I believe, but definitely one of those players who almost always is on the cusp. So we're all waiting to see how it happen. Blake, really good player, really good guy. Thoughts on this matchup as a 7-10?
I think you just about covered it. The 7-10 matchups are always going to be exceptionally close. This could really go either way.
Mm-hmm.
Both really good guys. Loved getting to spend time with them in Jersey a couple weeks ago. This is a coin flip for me.
Okay.
Pat, sorry, Pat. Also, he won one of the Jawa. We had a Jawa event this year. He won that. We had the Jawa Cup. I'm not sure. One of the Jawa event that just happened. He came in first, and I came in second. But again, Killer Bees took that event, so that was either way, it was fine.
That's fair.
Either way.
Moving on down the line, we have our 3 seed Taco Bill Kafer versus the man himself, or I'm sorry, the Pog himself, Mr. Tommy Lodge Pog, Papa Lodge Pog, soon to be. Again, Bill I believe as a 3 seed. I feel like that's really good. Bill almost always he's always in contention at top 8s. Bill's a really good player, really good guy. So, and Tommy, I mean, if you don't know Tommy, you're missing out.
Absolutely, you are absolutely missing out.
So why?
This is also the only matchup. What?
Bill is a 3 seed. Like, is it fair?
Is it fair to Tommy?
Yeah. Is it fair putting Bill against Tom, or Bill against Tommy? Is that fair to Tommy?
I mean, Bill is absolutely a 3 seed. He's a great player.
Mm-hmm.
What is not fair, and what I apologize for, is this is the only time in the bracket where if the bracket holds, meaning if there are no upsets, 2 teammates will have to face each other in the Sweet 16.
Ooh, okay.
Gogolin and Bill, both originally New Jersey guys, both new allies. And if there are no upsets, they will play in the Sweet 16. It's the only situation like that in the bracket.
Okay.
We did the best we could, but when you put 11 people into the bracket, you can only keep them apart for so long.
So what we're hearing is that the new allies need to make 2 divisions: the new allies and the newer new allies. Just a thought.
The newest allies.
Moving on down the lines, we have Jared Konsker versus Garrett. I am the old man. 42 Larson. Jared is our. I believe this is what, the 6-11 seed.
This is a 4-20 matchup.
Okay. See what you did there. Now, that's actually a good question. Did you guys put these particular players together so they would have to fight because, again, thematics?
No, there's so much of this that I'm just seeing right now for the first time as we go over these one by one.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I like that Garrett is in the 42. That's a good number for him. Jared, I know he just won the consolation at New Jersey, so I mean, still really good player. Had some fun playing his court deck. So I'm all for this one. I'm excited to see this one. And I feel like this one is one I feel like could go either way really, really nicely.
I think Jared has really been playing well lately. I think he's been playing as well as he has. He's a teammate of mine. I think he's been playing as well as he has in years, quite frankly. He might even be undisputed here. So I'm excited for him to maybe try to go on a run.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I believe that was that was one of our last bracket we have as our last number 1 seed, Mr. Gregory Shaw, our most recent major winner, versus Teacher, who is Chris Hickey. Again, I really feel bad for Chris having to face down Greg Shaw. Greg played really well in New Jersey, so it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, Greg's been a beast, always, but especially, took down New Jersey uh, in a meta where, especially on dark side, a lot of the top players were on the same deck, so
Mm-hmm.
walkers. And when you win an event where a lot of players are on the same deck, it's the skill level coming through.
Yeah,
Greg's one of the best
100%.
to ever do it.
Moving on down the line, we have in our 8-9 seed, Carl Koenig versus Ryan Saracen. Crazy Carl versus the Sync Bug King himself in our 8-9 seed. Thoughts on this one?
So we wanted to make sure that Carl was in the last bracket we announced, so that he had to stick around and watch the.
So, why Carl at an 8 and why Ryan at a 9?
These are both just very solid players. They're in that sort of range of right in the range. Everyone really from like a 6 to a 11 seed. Really, really, really. There's not much separation. And when you get to that point, I could see either of these players really being anywhere in that range. This was just a way fell out. I think they're both incredibly solid players. I have a really hard time picking this matchup, which is exactly what my matchup should be. I couldn't tell you who's going to come out of this, and I wouldn't want to be Greg Shaw having to face the winner of this matchup in the second round. That's going to be tough.
And I know that Carl last year I want to say it was last year at the Ohio Mega Worlds for the regionals, he had to face Carl for the championship, and they split. So this one's definitely going to be interesting. And apparently we have a gentleman's wager already on the line. The loser has to buy the Girth Brooks. I don't know what that is, but clearly something is definitely on the line. So I'm excited for that one. And then moving on down the line, we have CryptoFist Zemwat. I think that's how you say his name. I know that's not how you say it. Zemek. Versus,
close I can get. It might be wrong.
Yeah. Where's Hayes? Or Joe? But he'll be facing off against Kendall. I am the Corin. So, thoughts on this matchup?
I think Zemek would have been higher, except for the fact that he hasn't played too much recently. But when he's on the top of his game, he's one of the best in the world.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was one of the players I was definitely looking forward to meeting out in Europe because he is such a good player. And unfortunately, he had some personal issues last year, so he wasn't able to go to Worlds. But this is not going to be an easy match for Kendall. And but at the same time, Kendall has been playing a lot better. He knows the decks that he likes. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he's locked in. He beat me in the OCS yesterday, 2 days ago. A lot of people have beat me in the OCS, but Kendall's one of them.
There you go.
Okay,
you're saying there's a chance.
And we have Justin Branch versus Nick Sweetle in our next matchup. Again, this is going to be the numbers versus number. I believe this is the 7-10. No,
it's the 5-12.
This is the 5-12. That's right. But yeah, we have the 5-12. Justin as a 5. I think that's perfectly fair. Justin is a really good player when he's on his game. And I'm really excited to see that. Nick definitely going to have a challenge.
So Justin is, very similar to Zemek. He's another European who is one of the best in the world when he's at the top of his game. We have been told that he's not currently necessarily at the top of his game. As a result, he was another one of those players that we discussed not playing with a very high deviation in the rankings. I think he might have had the highest. No, he was the third highest standard deviation among all players in terms of us not being able to decide
fair,
where we
yeah.
wanted to put him.
That makes sense. Okay, moving on down the line, we have our number 2 seed in this bracket, Mr. Mike Kessling, Mike the Jelliest Man in all of Star Wars CCG versus Davey Head, David Morrison. So, again, what can be said against Mike? He's a really good player. He's always in contention for a top 8. Has yet to win a major, but I do think it's going to be he'll get one eventually. Like he's due.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah, it's a matter of time. And a little bit of a trivia, I believe he's made it to the finals 3 times in this event, all back to back to back. So, again, he's due to win this event too.
Maybe this is the year he's no longer the bridesmaid.
And Mike, along with Sam Tashima, was another guy who people did have him as a 1 seed. So
Mm-hmm.
he was in the mix with Sam and Jeff for that last number 1.
Okay. And moving on down, we have Robbie Hendon versus Amar Banger. Robbie, this is going to be our 7-10 seed. Robbie versus Amar. Robbie, he's made 2 top 8s for Worlds. He's a really good player. Really good guy. I know he hasn't been playing a lot, but I do expect to see some success from Robbie. Amar is a really underrated player.
Average player, you could say.
Yeah. So definitely going to be interested in this one. Next up is Ryan Jelson versus Jared Greenwall. Ryan, who I believe just recently won one of the events recently. I believe it was the Champions League or something along that. I think it was the Champions League. So Ryan is a 3 seed. I think that's more than fair for Ryan. He's a really good player. And Jared, again, a player who do see a lot on GEMP. So if you are Jared, I would be ready for almost anything with Ryan because he is capable of playing anything.
Not me if you've heard this one before, but I lost to Ryan in the OCS today.
Man, Casey, you want to throw up a game later? I need some free wins.
You did blowing through those games, right?
Dan, are you even in this bracket? Were you in this event?
There. At number 43. The heck? Okay, now I'm not discrediting
So
Kyle
Dan,
Kruger
before you say
as
anything else.
Hold on, whoa. Kyle is our what?
Kyle's a 6, you're an 11. But, Dan, I apologize. You were the second person to have to go down a seed line.
Sorry, go ahead.
And you went from a 10 seed to an 11 seed, and I don't think I mentioned it when we were talking about the matchup. But David Woods was originally an 11 seed who got bumped up to a 10 seed. Dan, you are unfortunately a killer bee, which put 12 entrants into the event, and there was no other possible way to do it.
Blasphemy! Sorry, I got allergies, you know.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, all I'm going to say is, I got nothing. I mean, I'm not, you know what? No, I'm abstaining from saying anything. I mean, Kyle is a...
This way, you don't have to play your teammate Logan in the first round.
Oh, I would have gladly taken down Logan in the first round. Logan...
I don't know that you would have taken him down. You would have played him. That's the thing that could have happened.
Okay. But no, Kyle as a 5 seed definitely warrants it.
6 seed.
Sorry?
6.
6
Kyle's
seed.
a 6.
6. Oh, Kyle should be higher. Put him higher.
Kyle, like Shemek, like Silver Glen, definitely the potential to be like a top 3 seed. Just hasn't been playing much lately. Obviously, you know that historically the results are there. 2 times as runner-up. Multiple top 8s, all that. Just hasn't been super involved lately.
Yeah. And that makes
And we were
very
lucky to have a lot of representation across teams on the selection committee. We had Test 8, we had Killer Bees, we had Team 5, and we had people who were able to um, tell us about who was active right now and who wasn't, who was putting in the work and who wasn't, and that really helped us with some of those seeding decisions. So appreciate everyone who was on the selection committee.
Yeah. And it's not an easy job for those who are on the selection committee to come up with this bracket. But again, if you have any issues with where you're placed, please present them to Mr. Batmouse. He'll gladly take them into consideration for next year. But before we go, I do want to say thank you for everybody for tuning in. If you are participating, again, your deck list for the first 3 rounds are due by this Friday. When does the bracket actual prediction, like, when does everything start? Because I know people are going to... What?
I think we were just waiting on the reveal to turn on the bracket prediction. I'm not sure. We'll have to get with Joe to see if he set up the bracket prediction function of that. So the anticipated schedule, the deck lists are due May 16th. The round of 64 begins May 17th and runs to the 26th. And we're going to be tight on timeline this year. So unless you're in the hospital and don't have a laptop in the hospital or are dead, you should have your games played by the 26th. Do not make us coin flip. And we actually have some.
Ideally, if you're planning on dying, we would appreciate if you got your games in first.
Yeah, just that way we don't have to go through the whole process of eliminating you that way. So we do have a couple of provisions this year that, like, hey, if you cannot get a hold of your opponent, we'd like you to CC the tournament directors, letting us know that you're having problems getting things scheduled. That way we have a paper trail of what the issues are, who's having issues, and that way we can eliminate he said moment at the end of it all.
Okay, perfect. So if you do get any questions, again, make sure you guys see the tournament directors. Again, once Joe is able to get this all taken care of and everything, we'll get the prediction contest posted. But yeah, I think that's all I got for everybody. So again, everybody, thanks for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your night. And for those on the tournament selection committee, until then, take care, enjoy yourselves, and may the force be with you. Good night, everybody.
And Dan, Carl is asking you to make a couple of announcements in the chat.
Oh, okay, so really quick before we go, the hotel for Nationals is live, so if you're going to Nationals, make sure that you guys go ahead and sign up for that. Apparently, Carl is also working on getting some corporate sponsorships for prize support at Nationals, so again, make sure you guys thank Carl for all he's doing because he's putting in so much work. But, yeah, that's...
Available for NIL opportunities.
I've got one more thing. For anyone watching the Twitch stream and that is still watching, message me. Dan is 43. Message me. I will send you something shiny in your GEMP on your next GEMP login.
Wait, message you what?
Dan is 43. Dan is 43. That is the message that you want to send to me.
And if you were curious about your actual seating before adjustments on the 1 through 64, you were 40, so you went down.
So technically, I'm higher than Garrett. That's all that matters. And with that bombshell, Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you for having us, Dan.